Norm Lubow is a name synonymous with controversy. His journey in the world of television is as fascinating as it is contentious. From the very beginning, Lubow seemed destined to stir the pot, to challenge the norms and to push the boundaries of what was acceptable on television. He is best known for his time as a producer on the infamous talk show, The Jerry Springer Show. This show, which became a cultural phenomenon in the 1990s, was notorious for its outrageous content and sensationalist approach to daytime television. The show was a spectacle of dysfunctional families, infidelity, and public confrontations. Each episode seemed to outdo the last in terms of shock value, and it was this very shock value that kept audiences coming back for more. Lubow thrived in this environment. He had an uncanny ability to navigate the chaos and turn it into compelling television. His role was not just to produce the show, but to orchestrate the drama, to ensure that each episode was more sensational than the last. He had a knack for finding guests with outlandish stories, whether it was a tale of betrayal, a shocking confession, or a heated confrontation. Lubow knew how to identify the stories that would captivate audiences and drive ratings. He knew how to exploit their vulnerabilities for ratings gold. This often meant delving into the personal lives of guests, exposing their secrets, and amplifying their conflicts for the sake of entertainment. There was a delicate balance of manipulation and showmanship. This experience would shape Lubow's career trajectory. The skills he honed on The Jerry Springer Show, finding sensational stories, manipulating narratives, and creating compelling television, would serve him well in his future endeavors. It would lead him to become embroiled in some of the most high-profile scandals of our time. Lubow's ability to navigate controversy and his willingness to push ethical boundaries made him a magnet for scandal. Lubow's time on The Jerry Springer Show was a crash course in sensationalism. He learned how to package and present stories in a way that captivated audiences, even if it meant sacrificing truth for entertainment. He learned how to package and present stories in a way that captivated audiences. This often involved editing footage to heighten drama, scripting confrontations, and creating narratives that were more fiction than fact. This often meant pushing boundaries and blurring the lines between reality and entertainment. The show became a masterclass in how to create compelling television by any means necessary, and Lubow was at the helm of this controversial approach. While the show brought him success, it also instilled in him a certain disregard for traditional journalistic ethics. The pursuit of ratings often took precedence over truth and integrity, and this would become a defining characteristic of Lubow's career. This disregard would become increasingly evident as he transitioned from the world of daytime television to the realm of high-profile allegations. Lubow's career would be marked by a series of controversies and scandals, each more sensational than the last. Norm Lubow's start in television was anything but conventional. From his early days, he showed a flair for the dramatic and a willingness to take risks. His ambition and drive set him apart from his peers, and it wasn't long before he made a name for himself in the industry. Working behind the scenes of a talk show, Lubow quickly learned the ins and outs of television production. He was a quick study, absorbing everything he could about the industry and using that knowledge to his advantage. His ability to manage chaos and turn it into compelling content was unparalleled. Lubow's talent for orchestrating drama became his trademark. He had an instinct for knowing what would resonate with audiences and wasn't afraid to push the envelope to get there. This often meant creating situations that were more about spectacle than substance, but it was a formula that worked. In the control room, Lubow was a maestro, editing footage to maximize impact and crafting stories that would keep viewers on the edge of their seats. His approach was controversial, but it was undeniably effective. Ratings soared, and Lubow's reputation as a master of sensationalism was cemented. However, this success came at a cost. The ethical dilemmas that arose from his methods were significant. Lubow often found himself at the center of debates about the morality of his approach, and the consequences of his actions would follow him throughout his career. As Lubow transitioned to dealing with high-profile scandals, the lines between his professional and personal life began to blur. His controversial legacy was built on a foundation of sensationalism and ethical ambiguity, and it would continue to define him as he navigated the treacherous waters of the media industry. Reflecting on his career, it's clear that Norm Lubow's impact on the media landscape is profound. His approach to television production has left an indelible mark, influencing how sensational stories are told and consumed. While his methods may be contentious, there's no denying the lasting influence he has had on the industry. Norm Lubow's legacy in television is a testament to the power of sensationalism. He remains a controversial figure in media history, a man whose career was defined by his ability to captivate and provoke. As we look back on his journey, we see a complex portrait of a man who changed the face of television, for better or worse. In 1995, the world was captivated by the O.J. Simpson murder trial. It was a case that had everything: a famous defendant, brutal crimes, and a media circus that turned the courtroom into a stage for a real-life drama. The trial was not just a legal proceeding, it was a spectacle that drew in millions of viewers, each with their own opinions and theories about what had happened. Simpson, a former NFL star, was accused of killing his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman. The allegations were shocking, and the evidence presented was both compelling and controversial. The case quickly became a national obsession, with people tuning in daily to catch the latest developments. The trial became a media frenzy, with every detail scrutinized and debated endlessly. News outlets competed for the most sensational headlines, and the public couldn't get enough. The courtroom was filled with cameras, and every moment was broadcast live, turning the trial into a form of entertainment. Norm Lubow saw an opportunity to insert himself into the narrative. Lubow, a television producer with a knack for controversy, recognized the potential for fame and influence. He was no stranger to the world of high-profile cases and knew how to navigate the media landscape to his advantage. He claimed to have information that could blow the case wide open. Lubow's assertions were bold and dramatic, designed to capture attention and create a buzz. He suggested that he possessed insider knowledge that could change the course of the trial. Lubow alleged that Simpson had confessed to the murders while under the influence of illegal drugs. This claim was explosive, suggesting that Simpson had admitted guilt in a moment of vulnerability. It was a narrative that added a new layer of intrigue to an already complex case. He claimed to have heard this confession firsthand. Lubow's story was compelling, painting a picture of a troubled man who had let slip a dark secret. It was the kind of revelation that could sway public opinion and potentially impact the trial's outcome. However, he refused to name his source. This refusal to provide concrete evidence or identify witnesses cast a shadow over his claims. Without corroboration, his story remained just that, a story lacking the substance needed to be taken seriously by the court. This lack of evidence immediately cast doubt on his claims. Skepticism grew as people questioned Lubow's motives and the veracity of his statements. Was he genuinely trying to reveal the truth, or was he seeking attention and notoriety? Despite the skepticism, Lubow's allegations made headlines. The media, always hungry for sensational stories, picked up on his claims and ran with them. Headlines blared with the latest twists and turns, keeping the public hooked. They fueled the already intense media firestorm surrounding the trial. Lubow's involvement added another layer of drama, making the case even more compelling for viewers. The trial was no longer just about justice. It was about the spectacle, the personalities, and the endless speculation. Lubow's involvement in the O.J. Simpson case set the stage for his future endeavors. He had found a formula that worked: insert himself into high-profile cases, make bold claims, and watch as the media frenzy followed. It was a strategy that would define his career. He had tasted the allure of being adjacent to high-profile scandals. The attention, the controversy, the power to influence public opinion, it was intoxicating. Lubow realized that he could leverage his media savvy to become a key player in the world of sensational news. He seemed to relish the attention, even if it was often negative. For Lubow, any publicity was good publicity. The more people talked about him, the more relevant he became. He understood that in the world of media, controversy sells, and he was more than willing to be the center of it. This marked a turning point in Lubow's career. He was no longer content to work behind the scenes. He wanted to be in the spotlight, to be the one making headlines and driving the narrative. It was a shift that would lead him to even more controversial and high-profile cases. He was no longer just a behind-the-scenes producer. Lubow had transformed himself into a media personality, someone who could command attention and shape public discourse. His role in the O.J. Simpson trial was just the beginning of a new chapter in his career. He was now actively seeking the spotlight, even if it meant making controversial and unsubstantiated claims. Lubow's willingness to push boundaries in court controversy made him a polarizing figure, but it also ensured that he remained a fixture in the world of sensational news. His story is a testament to the power of media and the lengths some will go to stay in the public eye.